name is Tom Kenny, and I am moderating this thing. Having been lucky enough to be on pretty much all of Gendy's stuff over the years, including the old Samurai Jack, which we all know and love. How you guys doing? Give it up for yourselves. Give it up for Samurai Jack. Give it up for Samurai Jack. What would Samurai Jack say? Exactly. He's a very quiet guy. Man, after 12 years, Sam Jack is back. That's pretty cool, isn't it? The original series, of course, ran from 2001 to 2004 and has a very fond place in so many people's hearts. And man, it's just amazing how stuff cycles back and comes around. And we are going to hear a lot more inside dope and see unseen stuff, unseen by anybody outside of the Cartoon Network building, about the new season 5, I guess we can call it, of Samurai Jack. 2016 season 5. Who would have thunk it? I'm going to bring up some of the fine folks who are making this new show. Most of them worked on the prior series as well. We're going to start out with the character designer for the show. He worked on Powerpuff Girls. He has worked on such feature films as Madagascar and a million other credits, too numerous to mention. Please welcome Craig Kelman. Craig Kelman, by the way, is sporting a fake Gendy Tartakovsky GQ magazine cover shirt that I think should be the cast and crew shirt for the show.
Sexiness.
Coming up next is our storyboard artist. He worked with Gendy on Symbionic Titan and little show you might know, and other past Gendy projects, but also has worked in feature films on a couple of little indie movies called Avengers 1 and 2. Maybe you've heard of them. Brian Andrews. Yeah. Our art director has worked on Symbionic Titan, Clone Wars, those really awesome recent Mickey Mouse cartoons over at Disney. Beautiful stuff, making Mickey cool again. And we know Samurai Jack is cool. Let's bring out Scott Wills. Sorry. Scott, you also worked on Ren and Stimpy, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Anytime you saw those super grotesque paintings, like those super close-ups of really gross paintings of Ren and Stimpy, many, many times it was the work of this man right here. So blame him for those crimes against your eyeballs. Finally, our head writer, he has worked on Symbionic Titan, Clone Wars, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. So you're the friend of Eduardo. Eduardo likes potatoes, and Eduardo also likes this man very much. I love potatoes, and I also love Derek Bachman! Thanks, Derek. And then I guess we're done. Let's have our panel. Wait, there's one person I haven't brought up. He is, I have been lucky enough to work with this man when he was basically a boy, when he was the new Wunderkind at Cartoon Network on Dexter's Laboratory, Clone Wars. He's the guy who took a troubled production called Hotel Transylvania and turned it into a giant global hit. He is one of the most talented people working in animation and one of the most amazing talents I've ever worked with and you could ever meet in your life. He is Jack's father, Samurai Jack's dad. I guess that also means he's Aku's papa too. Big, warm, Comic-Con explosive welcome for Gendy Tartakovsky! Yeah.
So stupid. So dumb.
Hey, Gendy. What a team, huh? Look at these guys.
All right.
That is like, that is some serious DNA. So let's get a couple of things out of the way first. When are we going to be seeing season 5?
None of your business.
Okay.
Tom, you've said enough, as usual. No, first of all, I want to thank everybody for having us here. And why are we here? Because of you guys. Because no matter what interview...
So true.
No matter what interview I did, no matter where I went, no matter what, everywhere I spoke, schools, colleges, whatever, the first question is always, the first drawing is always Samurai Jack.
Right.
And so it always felt to me that it's more popular now than it actually even was when we first aired it. So, and that's because of you guys. So I just want to thank you.
Yeah. That's true. You guys, Gendy and I have talked about this, you know, your love for this character and wanting Gendy to tell more stories of Samurai Jack is really the only reason that this thing is happening and we're all sitting here. So thanks very much. Does this happen in real time? Like how many years have passed between that Samurai Jack that we're looking at and the last time we saw him in 2004?
So for us, it's been 50 years. And so in the show, you're thinking like, why isn't, you know, Jack almost dead? You'd be 80 or something. But in the show, we kind of explained what happened, and we kind of don't want to get into it now because there's more fun things to talk about. But, you know, after doing all the, like we finished Hotel Transylvania 2, and I was looking for other work, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and basically I was sitting in the toilet.
Where all good ideas happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Shit
you know,
ideas.
we've tried to make the movie for the last 8 years with different people.
As a live action film?
Initially, it was a live action film, then a 2D film, then a CG film. It's gone through everything. And it never quite works out, and maybe for the better. And so I was sitting and I was thinking, you know, maybe it's fate, maybe it's destiny that I'm sitting in the bathroom. And
Kismet, maybe?
and decided I'm going to shoot an email to Rob Sorcher, who's the head of Cartoon Network, and see if he would be interested in making. And so I just wrote an email saying that, you know, I think Jack's really popular still, and perhaps, you know, we could make some more episodes, finish the story. He goes, that's great. You know, Adult Swim starts at 8 o'clock now. It's a primetime show. So he forwarded my email to Mike Lazo, who's the head of Adult Swim. He used to be my boss from the, you know, he greenlit Dexter's Lab. And so Mike called me the next day, and we talked about it. And then within 2 weeks, we had a deal, and we started writing. So it was really the...
I mean, that's pretty unusual in a business where things happen usually glacially slow, where, you know, the gestation period of everything just takes way longer than you want it to do, that this was actually like pretty, you know, suddenly you were pregnant and having a baby right away.
Yeah, and the great thing is also, you know, everybody took time out, sacrificed their time to work, you know. You know, Craig's one of the top designers in the industry, and he came aboard. Brian's busy making live action films. You know, Scott was suffering with me on Popeye, and Derek was busy with Mickey Mouse and everything else. And so it was great that everybody was like, yeah, Jack, we want to do it. Let's do something special. Let's do something different. And I feel like everybody's sitting and waiting to see something.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, and we're going to get into a little more like what's special sauce each of you guys brings to the process. You know, and we'll have plenty of time for Q&A also, because that's kind of what Comic-Con's all about. I'm sure people have questions about Samurai Jack they've been wanting to ask for years, and we want to have time to get to those.
At least, thank God, nobody's going to ask me, is there a Samurai Jack movie now? But
can we start out, you know, talk about the art of the pitch?
Yes. And so, you know, doing these new storyboards, they're still done the same way. You know, we still draw some on paper and then some on the Cintiq, and so it's the same process that we did in the old days, and you know, the first time we did the show. And so what I brought, I actually brought the opening sequence of the first episode. And I thought for fun, I would actually pitch it to you the way I would pitch it to my boss, to Lazo, to start working on it, and the way I pitch it to the crew. So if that's cool.
Yeah. We'll all be a room full of Mike Lazos, like Planet of the Lazos, and then you will pitch it the way that you would. Let's see. So we've greenlit the show. We're gonna do a pilot, and Gendy comes in with this.
Yeah. So usually, by the way, I pitch for maybe 5 people. So this is like thousands, looks like. So just kind of bear with me if it's super weird and awkward. Anyways, everybody sees black? All right. So we open up, windmills turning, clouds panning. All of a sudden, explosion. Another explosion. Then we see little figures start running out. Running. They're getting closer. Cut to chasing them. Then we come out, we see this little girl and their daughter. Beetle drones come above over them. They come down. They start to encircle them. Circling around. She brings her daughter close. And she talks in emojis. I, heart, you. I, heart, you. And then, and all of a sudden, they stop. The dust settles. All of a sudden, we hear, stands up, hear what the sound is. Something's coming. They all stand up. Pan down these cool-ass horns to this mysterious samurai warrior on this massive bike. Takes out a fucking gun. Explodes. Goes into slow motion, comes out of the steam. Uh-oh, who's that? Goes around, presses the trigger. Starts blasting all the bugs. Motion. The shell's coming out on his face. Stops. Click. Let's go. And then he wheelies up. We zoom in tight. Spikes come out. Starts spinning. We pan down real quick. Starts spinning. And then the beetle comes at him. They meet, and then he grinds the guy. His friend's getting all the debris from the guy getting shredded, and then flies up over all the guys. We go into slow-mo again. We split screen down in, close on the tire. Back spikes come out. Starts riding all the bugs, shredding them. Goes past this way. And all of a sudden, uh-oh, they got him. Flies off in midair. He grabs his gun, pulls it out, grabs the horn, blows his head off. Lands, throws the spike, gets electrocuted, shoots the gun this way. Two guys at the same time, holsters it, comes up, brings up a staff, opens it up, presses a button, clink, spikes come out, presses another button, electricity powers up, little Samurai Jack standoff. Antics back, takes the spear. We go inside the bug with the spear. We cut back out. He twists it. Spaghetti wraps around his guts. Pulls it out. The mom and daughter are like, oh my God. They're just gonna look at camera. We cut back to Jack as all the beetles are attacking him at the same time. Hits this guy. Takes this guy's head off. Swings around. Hits this guy. Sweeps the guy from the back, flies over past camera, into this other guy who explodes. Cut back to Jack, to the samurai.
Spoiler.
Swings, fighting these guys. We're getting closer, and then all of a sudden, he gets his mask cut off, gets tackled right before we barely see who it is. Clang! The mask, helmet, falls on the ground. We pan up.
Wow.
He gets all intense. Samurai? Jack? Question. And then, super hardcore down, right through his whole body, poops out guts, comes in, pulls it out, super angry, flies through this way, guts this guy, he falls down, swings around, lands, takes out the staff, lands, gush of oil, sorry, comes out, comes out to the girl's feet. We pan up, and then a little emoji. Jack picks up his helmet, puts it on, not a word. Rides off. The girl comes up. Thank you.
Samurai Max, Fury Road. I love it, man. Man, so there's 8,000 drawings and the first 4 seconds of, wow. That is amazing. I love the new Rasputin, the Mad Monk look that Jack is sporting too. That's pretty
It's,
good.
beards are in. Everybody is, who's a hipster has got a beard. So
Beardy is cool. So who storyboarded that sequence?
I did.
That's all you.
That was me. Yeah.
That's personally, okay, that's your passion.
So where it all, thank you. Where it all starts from is, we initially, once everything got kind of greenlit, I got together with Brian and Derek, and we just started talking about, and this idea of a darker Jack on a motorcycle, we actually talked about for one of the movies in this different setting, and it was always something where, how are we going to see Jack in this new time after so much time has passed, and this was always great, and then we just kind of started riffing on everything, and, I don't know if you guys, Derek, you want to talk about the story a little bit?
Sure. We tried to approach it in a different way, just because we've allowed time to pass, and we want to come at a different kind of point in his life because we're finishing the story here. So he's been on a quest for so long that we want to see kind of like the tail end of this quest and where he's at with his head, and try to find. It kind of parallels the idea that he's just a little bit lost in this world.
Yeah. And then Brian, I don't know if you want to talk about kind of approaching storyboarding, after years that we haven't done it and done so much other stuff.
You mean in regards to just specifically Jack?
Yeah, like for Samurai Jack and style and stuff.
Well, for the style, it's always been a fun thing where, like in college, when we were being trained and learning and stuff, we had a wide variety of influences, be it live action, anime, other good animation everywhere. And Jack seemed to be a perfect opportunity to basically put everything we learned and every style into one thing, because Jack as a show can be anything we need it to be at any moment we need it to be it, right? So getting back to that after working on other stuff for a while is like a breath of fresh air, because it's almost like, wow, it's like we're in college again. And you can do fun, awesome stuff without anyone breathing down your back going like, I don't approve of this. You could just be like, no, this is rad, I'm doing it, it's awesome, we're gonna do it.
And like once we kind of talked about the story, if I can get the computer back up, we kind of start drawing, and Brian and I split up the first episode, and and I just start drawing and just kind of exploring what it's going to look like. The first challenge was Jack with a beard, and just kind of start goofing around with different ideas how he's going to look like, and a lot of the drawings are really crappy, but it's just part of the process. It's always something I usually tell young kids who are, sometimes we're all shy to draw. But just, you got to get over the fear of drawing bad. I get over it every morning before I get to work. But anyways, just exploring and realizing what's going to work. How am I going to draw this episode? Started to come up with some silhouette ideas that are neat. I think initially I started out, he's almost more of like a Mad Max type of, everything's cobbled together from different pieces. At one point, he had a trench coat. But you always kind of hope the good ideas surface. Like here's almost like some kind of desert dweller type dude. Anyways, so we just kind of go through and try to find a silhouette that looks good. And this is just my thought process drawings. Just where am I going to get to? And then I know
That's the effing gun, right? That's the effing gun?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry if there's kids out there. And
There's
then,
the gun and then there's the
but I know, one of the things about my job that's so great, because I work with great people, I come up with stuff for them to draw. It's almost like a kid fantasy, where you can give an idea that you had to a great artist, and you're gonna see what they're gonna do with it. And so when I was drawing this, all I'm thinking in my head is like, oh my God, I can't wait what Craig's gonna do with this. And so finally, kind of we get it to a place, and then then Craig takes over, and he starts to put it all together, and really finding the design and the language of Samurai Jack.
Yeah. And then you throw that out and crush my fantasy of actually getting something to screen. And then
Craig, at that point, is there a pretty set parameters from Gendy, like
Yeah.
beginning, middle, end? Do you know where? And you got to fill in the.
I'll say, yeah, like a tiny veal box. I'm just kidding. God, everybody's like, oh, we hate veal. I'm sorry. No, again, he says, hey, I was thinking, let's do this with Jack, and I get all excited, and I go, yeah, you mean like this, like this? And he's not that. Let's rein it in, like this, and then I trace his drawing, and then he goes, I love that. I love what you bring to my drawings. It's like that, just the special sauce you were talking about.
Yeah.
And he doesn't realize he's just in love with his own
This
drawing.
is kind of the final kind of cleanup, and then we start to kind of get into color. And you see just a different exploration to what the color is going to look like, and all the different variations. And I think, like the one really interesting thing about doing this new season of, and then here's the final kind of color, doing the new season of Jack that's really interesting is that everything in our careers that I've done has been like, whatever, it's original, and so there's not as much pressure on it, because like, okay, either people are gonna connect to this or they're not, but it's my initial idea out. Here, everybody grew up with it. Everybody's got preconceptions. You can probably tell me how it's gonna be. And now there's this thing where we have to match to what's your imaginations and what your conception of it is when you were a kid. And
We're sorry.
That's
We're
scary
sorry.
in a different way. Yeah, you don't want to be the second Star Wars trilogy, you know what I mean? But I think like that. But I think the fact that like you guys are fans of stuff too, like you can think like fans and creators at the same time.
Yeah, it was like a similar thing when we did Clone Wars. That was that initial like, okay, you're doing Clone Wars, go, and we were like, all right, now what do we do? So anyways, it was an interesting thing that we haven't really dealt with. And here's just some Chris Riccardi designs for the motorcycle. Just different, shapes. Just one is, better than the next, and figuring out the design is,
Great.
was
That's
really
Riccardi.
great. That's Chris Riccardi. Yeah.
Great.
He's great.
Those are red.
And then that's the kind of the color. I don't know if it looks maybe a little dark. And then kind of while all this is happening, so these are some of Craig's final designs, colored. Here's the final look of that girl and her daughter. They look amazing. So there's a bunch of this stuff that's good. And then this is from like a future episode that I just thought was cool, that Craig did these awesome drawings and Scott did this amazing background. I'm not gonna talk about what happens. There's a wolf, but besides that, I'm not gonna give anything away.
No spoilers.
And then Scott, when you started to approach the color again for this, where was your mind at?
Well, after so many years in feature, because I was back in feature for probably 5 years, so coming back to Jack, I'm stuck in too realistic of a mode, and I still feel like I am, and we're kind of halfway. So it's trying to get back into a more experimental mode, more inventive color,
Right.
And it's hard to switch gears like that and get back into that groove that we had, however many years, 12 years ago.
12 years ago, yeah.
So it takes time.
And here's like some of, so that's the opening shot. Right, so you kind of see the process as it goes, and then here's the shot of Jack coming. It's kind of a down shot. Some of these are pretty quick, and just like a nice little flavor of the new show. The big thing of Jack has always been the art, also. Mood. Like we really try to do mood with stylized lighting,
Right.
and color, and having it all come together. And yeah, like breaking away from realism is a hard thing after you do it so much. And,
Right.
and I think, for Craig and for Brian, and, I think...
But especially because the boards are so cinematic and moody and dramatic that you want to just do real to sell those ideas.
Right.
Because you're like, I know if it's real, and it has depth and real lighting, those ideas are going to work. So,
Right, you're used to coming at it from a place where I better make this look
right.
as real as I can because I want them to love it.
Right. Yeah. So going to the next level of trying to get more inventive and more abstract is that's the real challenge.
Unlearn.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool. Stuff's beautiful, huh? Yeah. Really great, so exciting, and I mean, there's so much life and love in it. Like, and you guys, you didn't have to do this. You know what I mean? I mean, you guys you guys were all working on other stuff, so it's obvious that it's not a.
I took a
You're
major
not
pay
doing it
cut
out
to
of
do it.
any motives other than we want to tell
did,
this story in the best way possible. But in terms of like Craig is writing it, is your approach to the story and the writing different than it was 12 years ago, or is it kind of the same?
Derek?
I think it's a little different.
Yeah, sorry, what did I say, Craig? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm Craig and Derek.
I wrote it as well.
Derek,
We both
what I
have
did,
ball
Tom,
tracks.
was-
Derek. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But I think it's different in that since it's 10 episodes and we know that we're moving towards an ending, it actually gives us a level of drama that we can play with that we didn't have in the original series, because the original series, it's episodic, so it's just the further adventures. Every week's a new adventure. We meet a lot of great characters along the way, but this time we have one really big story for Jack, and it actually just allowed us to play with the drama that we hadn't really gone a level of character depth that we haven't achieved.
Because
Really.
the original series didn't really end on a cliffhanger per se.
No.
Right? So it's not like, there's all these unanswered questions that we never got to answer. So you're kind of freed from that, you know. But
it was
but then
just
it's like now you're Adult Swim. Now what's this rated M?
I mean, it's for Adult Swim, so it's kind of whatever goes.
Yeah.
I know that we could say shit 3 times in an episode.
not that we do that. No.
But it's definitely, it's a different world than when we were doing it initially.
Let's do the question thing.
Yeah.
We got microphones. You know what to do.
All right, I see that.
Dude, that's awesome.
Apparently people like me. Okay, my question is, obviously the action is returned, the density is returned, but stuff that I like about Samurai Jack is the quietness and the humanity, and I was wondering if that's the kind of stuff that's going to return as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're hitting everything that we did in the original show. I think even more so. I think one of the great things about this new batch is I think it's really emotional. I mean, for me it is.
Yeah.
And I think you really care for Jack, you really care for these other characters, and we really, because the first 52 we're not really allowed to be like episodic.
Right.
And here we are, so you really get a chance to grow the characters, and so it's going to have that humanity. It's going to have everything.
Yeah, I think that's the paramount thing about the story is the heart and the depth of Jack's journey that we're going to go on, and who he meets and the relationships that he forms. I think that's the main focus of what this miniseries is about.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. It's there.
Good question.
Is Jack going to be gone without he's not going to have a sword for the entire time?
No, he's got a sword.
All right. Just
some
wondering
point.
what happened to it. He didn't have it in there.
You got to watch the show. If I tell you now, there's no fun.
There's no fun.
Yeah.
There is it.
Nice.
Sword's right there.
Samurai Jack in the house.
Dude.
What's up, Jack?
There's
Big
the sword.
big fan of your work.
Nice.
You're hired.
That's awesome.
Thank you. I was wondering,
Stan Crawl.
since you have the baby up, are you going to be bringing the baby back from the last episode?
Oh, from the.
No. We kind of can assume that baby.
Was that the final? Yeah, right.
At the end, at the end, though, she was reunited with the baby was reunited with its parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it ended up getting the samurai eyes. I was just curious
Oh.
if the baby's going to be coming back.
That's a good spin-off. I'll tell Lance about it. Thank you.
You just saw 7 babies. You want more?
No more, please. No. Thank you.
Cool, man.
Would you like fries with that?
Hey guys, great storyboards, was fantastic. It was real reminiscent of his first futuristic battle with the battle bugs. My question is, so is he really embracing technology now? Because he seemed so set in the ways of, the old samurai. Is he like, if I need to use a gun, I'm going to use a gun. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I think as the series, you'll see as that episode unfolds, he's lost, And so that's great that you picked up on it, because part of it is, he's using guns and weapons, and he's traveling, and he's got armor, and he's almost become a coup in a way, with the horns and stuff. And so
when in Rome, I guess.
It's a little bit of the same symbology, but
Right.
even in the original Jack, occasionally Jack would branch out and use what was necessary. I don't know if I think he even used a gun for a brief moment, just because that's all that was there.
No.
But I thought he did it.
He's so wrong. No.
He used
You're
he used the robot arm at one point, so he's got that.
An arm, yeah.
But it was mainly the sword and all that type of stuff, but occasionally he would kind of do what he needed to do to win, depending. But here we're really kind of pushing the fact that time has gone by, he's dealt with a lot of stuff, and you have to watch the show to see why he's where he's at and where is he going, and all of it's addressed, so totally.
He's a smart, adaptable guy. Even
Totally.
Though
He's
like
worn armor
Tarzan or
before,
something.
so.
He's like a smart guy. And
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good question.
What's the difference having produced the show for Cartoon Network, now you're producing it for Adult Swim? Is there more that you get to do that you felt like you didn't get to do before?
Yeah, I mean, the great thing is when we originally did Jack, it was still for Mike Lazo, who was our boss back then, before Adult Swim. And what the great thing about that is that it's complete creative trust and creative freedom. And there's no feature that I would be able to do a scene like that of, children being born. But with Mike, he loves it. He's a fan of the show. And so, I make these pitches for him every time we have a new episode. And he's completely trusting. So the only thing that difference is the standards. So we could kill whatever we want. We can have blood. It could be intense. It could be more dramatic. And that's really the only difference. And the big difference is we've got a great budget, but we're short. It's basically us making the cartoon, and it's tough. It's super ambitious, and storytelling and animation has changed through the years. It was hard to find people, and so we kind of got stuck doing it. But it's great. Thank God it's only 10 episodes, because otherwise it wouldn't get done. And yeah.
Hi, thank you so much for bringing this back. My question's actually about the music and the sound. One of my favorite episodes was Samurai Chicken, and they have this great
There's always
music.
one. No,
Yeah, it was some fantastic music in it, and
Yeah.
I just, you have very unique artwork, and it seems like the music is the same thing, and I just wanted to ask about the influences there. How does it tie to the art, everything in that?
I mean, I'm a huge kind of world music fan, and for me, soundtracks like the old, like Blade Runner soundtrack is so unique, So for me, soundtracks are so much the character of, especially in the 70s, where the soundtracks were more, Tangerine Dream.
Yeah, the themes actually.
Yeah, very unique. And so I always wanted to do a show that I could play with the music, right? And so what I used to do back in the day, I would go to Virgin Records and listen to world music. They used to have the samplers before your time, I think.
It was a record store?
I would say, I would listen to different world DJs, and I go, oh my God, that's an awesome thing, and bring this ethnicity to it, and then marry it with some, electronic music and stuff, and make this kind of new thing. And for sure, we're going to do the same thing this time around. And it always kind of, blends with the style.
Well, it's a very musical show. I would guess that probably all you guys, music influences what you do to a certain degree, right? When I was in your office the other day, you were playing some crazy,
60s,
funk soundtrack from 1969. You're like, listen to this is really cool,
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome.
Music is a character for sure.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
My question is actually directed towards Gendy. Now that you're making a Samurai Jack movie, are we ever going to see the return of Symbionic Titan?
I wish. That'd be awesome.
Look how proud you are. Listen, I would love to finish Titan, just the same way as I loved wanting to finish Jack. It was even a harder show to do.
Yeah.
And, we got 10 scripts that are just laying there, and, never say never. hopefully we'll finish it one day, but I don't know. We'll see. Go sit down.
That was kind of a maybe.
Yes.
Hi, I wanted to ask, in the original series, you had a bunch of recurring characters that would come in periodically through Jack's path. I was going to ask, would any of them be maybe returning in this season, like the Scotsman?
Or the dogs.
Yes. He's back in a big way.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. That was not a maybe.
I was trying to keep it a secret. I'm shaking my head no, and you're like, yes.
I'm sorry.
Brian Andrews, he's right
Let
there.
that out. Yeah.
That's right.
Hi. Talking about the music again, will James Venable be returning to do the soundtrack for the new series? And will an original soundtrack ever be released for the old series?
Yeah, I don't know about the being released. And Jim's, I wanted to do something slightly different and just as a good way. So Jim's not going to do the music for this one. I have this other composer in mind that we're going to do. I can't release the name yet. But yeah, I mean, Jim was great. I loved all the stuff. I just wanted to do something slightly different, pushing it to that next level.
Hey, Gendy.
Hey.
Question because, what's his name? I'm sorry. I'm nervous. Because Mako passed away in 2006, rest in peace. Did you guys find another actor who could do an Aku-esque voice, or is that a surprise?
No, I mean, it was super rough. It actually, after he passed away, I'm like, well, maybe I should never do Jack again. I definitely thought about stopping it. But, and so I thought about replacing him with just going a whole different way with it, right? But then I thought, now, Aku is such a great character and such a great voice, you kind of want to do it. And so we got a guy who can do imitation pretty well. Listen, Mako was one of a kind, for sure. So nothing's going to replace him, but we're pretty close. And some stuff sounds really good, and some stuff's okay, and we're working on it. But yeah, he'll sound like himself. Thank you.
Hi. So obviously, with Mako, the voice acting is amazing, but one of my favorite some of my favorite sequences are the long, silent ones. Did you have any doubts initially when you were releasing the show? Did that be well received?
Did I have any doubts if I was going to do that again, or?
No, if initially it would be well received to have such long.
Were you like, this is a lot of quiet for that people are used to this cacophonous
Yeah, no,
world?
for sure. Like it's especially when when we first get the episodes back, when we see them, there's no sound on it, so you sit through long periods of silence, and you get nervous. But once we started doing the sound for it, it comes alive, and then I started to get confidence in that. And so yeah, for sure, this is the same. I think the first episode has. It's a 22-minute, and I think we have 3 minutes of dialogue. Wow. Thank you. It's a great costume. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I think we got cut off. But listen, I just want to thank everybody for...
Was that it? Our time's up?
I think so.
Man, that went by way too fast. Did you guys have a good time?
Yeah.
Woo! You like what you saw? Yeah, I did too. Any last parting words from our panel of experts?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just want to say thank you. Like I said in the beginning, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. I love the support. We've been pretty good response on the internet. Not a lot of trolling going on for Jack. So I appreciate that. And yeah, I'm super excited for everybody to see it. And hopefully it turns out good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I don't have any doubt, so keep checking for a premiere date. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for your awesome questions and your samurai love, guys.